All right, it's time to get going. I know my clock was a little bit off there. My countdown. I was a little late getting this started. Just threw everything else off, but we're going to get started. It started 2 minutes after, and so I apologize for the late start here. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, give me a quick hello in the chat. Let me know you're here, and we're going to ask some hard questions tonight. So I'm gonna try to stump you a little bit and see how this goes. So at least I think they're hard questions. You guys may get them all right on the first guess. I'm not giving you options. It's not multiple choice. I'm trying to make it as hard as possible tonight. So, hi, Christy. All right. I was running a little late getting things together here, but make sure the volume here is working. All right. Yeah, it seems to be. We'll wait just a moment longer, and then I'm going to jump right in. I don't know how many questions I ended up pulling together. It's just a few, but I think they're hard. So I was going to give you some time to make guesses. I really hope people would guess more than once. Don't have a lot of us on yet, so may not have a whole lot of interaction tonight, but that's okay too. I can tell I'm sitting down tonight, kind of tired. All right. Slap my chair over a little bit. All right, well, Christy, you may be the only one answering. I see a few others on the stream, but you may be the only one that's participating with guesses here. So you may have to make a lot of guesses. May just be me and you. I'm going to test your knowledge here. See if I can get this working. All right, I think we're going to go right to the first question. So everybody get ready. Hard question number one. What is the first building mentioned in the Bible? First building mentioned in the Bible. Anybody know? Again, no multiple choice, no hints, at least unless I just get the feeling like giving hints. But what's the first building mentioned in the Bible? Hi, Darlene. How are you? Good to see you on tonight. So everybody feel free to just make as many guesses as you want. If you come up with an answer, throw it out there. If it's not right, you can throw out another one. If it is right, I'll let you know. We'll move on to the next hard question. But these are intended to be a little bit trickier. Not tricky in the sense that there's a trick answer, but just tricky in the fact that you may not have thought about some of these or thought, come with, all right, well, maybe it's not as hard as I thought. Christy got it right on the first try there. Tower of Babel or Babel, whichever way you want to pronounce it, is the first building mentioned in the Bible. So good job there, Christy. So, all right. Let me see here. Don't have everything situated just right to advance my slides. Hang on. All right. Now the slides are advancing. Yes, it was the Tower of Babel or Babel. And I'm curious to know how many people pronounce that, because I've always called it the Tower of Babel. But if you look at it, technically it's Tower of Babel because there's only one B there, so that would give it the long A according to phonics. All right. Anyway, next hard question. How many spies did Moses send into Canaan? Now, this one might not be hard if you are familiar with that story pretty well and know the reasoning why he did it, but see if I can trip you up a little bit. How many spies? When Moses wanted to go into the promised land, the people said, let's send spies in, see what it looks like. And Moses said, it's a good idea. How many did he send? And Christy comes in again. You got the hands up like she's not sure that's right, but 12 is right. So good job there, Christy. I thought I was making these hard, but yeah, he sent one for each tribe. So he sent 12 spies. And just as a bonus question, anybody remember how many of them said, yes, we can take it, and how many of them said, no, we can't? All right, Darlene had that one as well. I just saw your comment come in there. So same time as Christy, 12 So that question wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. All right, that's right. 2 of them said, yes, we can do it. Joshua and Caleb said, God says we can take it, we can take it. The other 10 said, I don't know. These people are huge. We're as grasshoppers in their sight. And all right, so more hard questions, hopefully. What valuable fruit did Solomon compare to good advice? What valuable fruit did Solomon say good advice was likened to? Maybe this one will be harder. I thought I was getting hard already, and I haven't stumped you guys yet. So, what valuable fruit did Solomon compare to good advice? I was agreeing with Christy on the 2 and the 10. All right, so that was a story you guys were familiar with. Didn't trip you either one of you up on that one, even with the bonus question. So, how well do you know Solomon and his valuable fruit? What did he compare good advice to? And no, Christy, it's not chocolate oranges. Christy's guessing grapes. All right, that's not correct. That's a good guess. Oh, Darlene's going grapes too. You guys are on the same page tonight. That's amazing. Nope, it's not grapes. It's another fruit. And there was a distinction he made about them that made them valuable. So I will give that as a hint. No more guesses. Feel free to just guess away. Grapes was a good guess because obviously at that time period, grapes were a significant fruit. Pomegranate, that's another good guess because they definitely, you had a lot of pomegranates and you see that referred to, particularly in Solomon's writing, the Song of Solomon, but that's not the one he's looking for here. The valuable fruit here is something different. It's not grapes, it's not pomegranates, it's not chocolate oranges. Although, I don't know what I did with it. I did find a chocolate orange at Dollar General yesterday on the discount aisle from Valentine's. I don't know why the orange was there for Valentine's candy, but it was a dark chocolate mint orange. And I had to buy that. Muscadine, okay. So, Darlene, were you going with the pomegranate or the muscadine? So, my video just blinked there. I hope that's not a sign of things to come. All right. Nope, it's not muscadine. It's not pomegranate. It's not grapes. Oh, all right. Let's see here. Darlene's guessing apple. And that would be partially correct. It's golden apples. So that's what makes them valuable. Solomon said in Proverbs 25:11, if you go from the King James Version, it says, a word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver. And other translations would have that. A word spoken at the right time is like apples of gold in silver settings. So good advice. Things said at the right time, the right word at the right time, in the right way is like golden apples. So, all right. Good job. So I haven't stumped you guys yet. I did that one through you for a little bit of a delay, but you still ended up getting the right answer. So, all right. Next question. Which prophet experienced an earthquake, a strong wind, and a fire all in one day? Now, if you ever think you're having a bad day, just remember this prophet, which we will name here in a moment. And he saw an earthquake, strong wind. We won't call it a tornado, but a really strong wind and fire all on the same day. Nope, okay. Some of my answers are just now coming in. So Darlene was agreeing with Christy on the pomegranate, not the muscadine. All right. I do have a little bit of a delay here. I don't know if we're getting bad internet connection. I know Carolyn will message or let us know that they're having internet problems. So those of us who live in rural parts of the county, our internet is up and down. You never know if you're going to have internet or not. Because she says Ezekiel. That's a good guess. Ezekiel certainly saw some interesting things, but it's not Ezekiel. So Ezekiel did see the flying wheel, though. Remember that. My screen keeps flickering. I don't know if that's coming through on the stream or not. If the stream's flickering on you, I apologize. All right, so Christy is saying Elijah. Darlene says, okay, she didn't know that one. All right, so I'll go ahead and advance it in because Christy is correct on the second answer there. Elijah is the prophet that saw the earthquake, the strong wind, and the fire all in one day. Sounds like Alabama weather to me, doesn't it? You could get snow in the morning and 80 degrees that afternoon, or vice versa. Maybe a little tornado or straight line winds mixed in between. But never knew Elijah was from Alabama, did you? I'm pretty sure we'll think with Elijah first and then change it to Ezekiel. Always go with your instinct. All right. So, again, hard questions that you guys are getting to each time, but more hopefully hard questions. What was special about a fish that Peter once caught? Now, Peter was a fisherman, so he caught a lot of fish. So there's got to be something special for us to call this out. But there was one fish in particular that was different from the others. What was special about that fish? Anybody know? And the answer is not that it was battered and fried and covered in hot sauce. That was kind of normal about fish. That's the normal way of handling fish. Either people are typing or I've got you stumped a little bit. Well, my screen is flickering. I hope that's not coming through on the outside. I'm always nervous now because I'm using that new tool that I had trouble with last week and never can tell if it's going to give me problems or not. I'm sure it's something I'm doing and not the tool, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong yet. Overloading it somehow. So what was special about a fish that Peter once caught? Maybe I've stumped you. Oh, I didn't. And because she says the screen is flickering. Oh no, that's what I was afraid of. Yes, he had a coin in his mouth. That was what was special about this fish. It was time to pay the temple tax, and disciples asked what to do, and Jesus told Peter, "Go heat this particular spot, cast out, catch a fish, and you'll find a coin in there, and go pay our temple tax." And Christy, okay, so she had to Google a friend. That's all right too. At least it was hard enough to force someone to go seek answers. That's the first one I think that's kind of stumped you guys at all. So that's good. All right, who spent a whole day and night floating in the sea after a shipwreck? Who spent all day and all night floating in the sea after a shipwreck? Okay, yeah, Christy is kind of quick with the typing. She's kind of got that phone thing now where she can type quickly. Sometimes she'll be over there just typing away a message and like, who are you texting to? And I look over, she's already got about this much text in the thing. I'm like, whoa, that's a letter. It's not a text. Whereas me, I'm not that fast on the phone. That's why I sit in front of the computer when I need to type a lot of stuff. All right. Who spent a whole day and night floating in the sea after a shipwreck? I'll at least get a couple of answers here because there's plenty of people we know of that have ended up in the ocean. So You just start guessing people if you want to. But stump Christy on this one. All right. I will give you props for not guessing Jonah. I figure people would probably guess Jonah right off the bat, but we know what Jonah was 3 days in the belly of the whale, so that was longer than this person was floating in the water. Would be guessing Peter. That would be okay, but that's wrong too. So I finally stumped you both. All right, yeah, Darlene threw the hands up. This is and this guess is James. Nope, this was Paul. Remember when Paul was on his way to Rome, and he had actually warned the captain about not sailing where they were going, and the captain's like, "Nope, we're going." And they get out there, and the water's rough, and the guy who was guarding them, the centurion, comes back, and he's kind of trusting Paul now because Paul's been giving him good advice. And they're about to send people are about to leave on boats, and Paul says, "Don't let them leave." So the centurion stopped the guy that owned the captain of the ship and all his crew, said, "You're not leaving without everyone else." And ship was wrecked in the storm and spent a day and a night floating in the water there. All right, who saw a sea of glass? So Peter and James both would have been good guesses. They spend a lot of time around water, that's for sure. I think this is our last question here. Who saw a sea of glass? See, the weird thing is the screen's not flickering now. I have no idea why it was flickering a moment ago and it's not now. Here she's going back with Peter. She's like, "I'm going to keep guessing Peter till I get this right." No, it wasn't Peter. Peter's not the one that we know saw a sea of glass. Peter has me to answer at least one question. No, Peter caught the fish. We can leave Peter there with the fish that had the coin in his mouth. Darlene saying she doesn't know that. I stumped you guys on this one. All right. Any more guesses, Christy, or you give up too? That's what I can call a win. Oh, Christy threw up the hands as well. All right. Correct answer here is John. And this is in the book of Revelations when he's standing there and he sees a sea of glass. Obviously, you don't know that it meant it was entirely glass, but that's what it looked like, just a big expanse that looked like all you could describe it as was glass there in the book of Revelations. And in fact, I didn't want to give a hint there, but the passage we read in Revelations last week, the few verses right before that is where John writes that about seeing a sea of glass, where they're standing there before the throne. So, all right. Well, yeah, I tried to get some hard questions, some ways to stump you. And the reason I want to do that is because I want us to think for just a moment. It's going to take me a bit to clear this up. For our questions here, there we go. Sometimes we don't ask the hard questions. Sometimes we try to keep the question to ourselves. And I was thinking about that. God has told us He wants us to ask Him for things. He wants us to put the questions to Him. We mentioned this morning, and I always try to tie tonight into what we had in the morning. We talked about how He says that He will answer us, He will hear us, He will give us our petitions, and that's what He's asked us to do. He wants us to come to Him when we have questions, as He wants us to come to Him when we have needs. And in this passage here, and I didn't put the reference in here. This is John, the Gospel of John. Chapter, remember which one it was? Chapter 14, beginning in verse 9. And Jesus said unto them, "Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that has seen me has seen the Father. How sayest thou then, show us the Father?" So in this passage, Philip has come to him and said, Jesus, if you'll just show us the Father, that'll be enough for us. And here's where he's responding, saying, have I not been with you long enough for you to know that if you've seen me, you've seen the Father? He says, believest thou not that I am in the Father and the Father in me? The words that I speak to you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. And Jesus is saying, if you're asking me this, you're asking the Father that. We're one. He's in me and I'm in him, and we are one. And he goes on to say, and this is one of the passages we know pretty well, believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very works' sake. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also. And greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. Notice the power of that. That he's saying that we can ask anything. We can ask for anything. We can ask questions. We can the things that we don't understand. God's not intimidated by our questions. He's not worried about us asking the hard questions. He wants us to bring our petitions to him. He wants us to bring our requests to him. And he says, I'm here to give you power, to do those things, to answer those things, to give you answers, to give you the result of what it is you're asking for. That's the beauty of it. And I want to give this whole passage. I know it's kind of a long passage there. We got to kind of cover short things here on Sunday night. But it's because it starts off with him saying, it ends with him saying, ask me anything in my name and I will do it. I am here to answer your request. But it began with Philip not quite understanding who Jesus was, not quite understanding what God was doing, and even asking a question that he really didn't understand what he was asking. And that's always the case. When we don't take our hard questions to God, it's generally because we don't trust him. We don't believe he is who he says he is, or we have a misconception of what he's wanting to do in our life. And here he's clearing up. He's saying, whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I do. He says, anything that the Father may be glorified in the Son. He says, I'm going to do things that are going to bring glory to God. And when we're asking God hard questions, we're asking God for big requests, he says, I can do those things. If it brings glory to God, I can do that. So that's my challenge to you this week. Don't hesitate to ask God the hard questions. Don't hesitate to bring God the big requests, the things you kind of go, I don't know if he's going to worry about that. I don't know if he's going to care about that. He does care. He wants us to bring things to him. He wants us to bring our requests to him, make our requests known. It says, if he shall ask anything in my name, you will do it. It says, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, he shall do also. We have a power at our disposal, and that power comes through prayer and petitioning God and asking God for help. And so let's be willing to bring the things to him. If you have a big request, something big on your heart, ask him, take it to him, and he will do that. There's a song that I really like. It's an old song now, but Chris Rice sang it. It was called "Big Enough," and it starts off kind of just asking questions. And it says it kind of goes through a chorus where it says, "God, if you're there, I wish you'd show me. And God, if you care, then I need you to know me. So I hope you don't mind me asking the questions, but I figure you're big enough. I figure you're big enough." And I just love that song because it speaks to such an honesty of saying sometimes we just have to ask God. Say, God, I don't know if this is okay to ask, but I just need to talk to you about this. He's so big. He's so powerful. He wants us to bring that to him. He wants to be the one we go to. So let that be you this week. Don't hesitate to ask God for anything. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and hope to see you next Sunday. And if I can be of any help, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.